Just driving on the highway here, headed to Pimpama with Clinton, and he's excited to show me these two properties, and I'm excited to see them myself, because knowing what housing is actually costing in other cities like Brisbane, which is the closest city to the Gold Coast, but most notably probably Sydney and Melbourne, where prices have actually risen to levels that I would just say are unobtainable for most, wouldn't you say, Clinton? And in comparison, for $400,000, we're going to show you what you can get for a house here on the Gold Coast in Australia, right? So it's still, like, 400 grand's nothing, it's cheap. And with building costs nowadays going up, every single day, and I'm talking about, like, I was talking to a small developer, a mum and dad developer very recently, and he's from Brisbane, and he's an engineer. He's an expat that lives over in Asia, and that's how I know, and I've met him. I actually met him one day on a flight to Thailand, so that's how I met this engineer. And what he was saying is he's got this small development here in Brisbane, and previously for that development and council costs and all the insurances as such, perhaps maybe you're paying 1,000 to 1,200 Aussie for construction PSM, price per square metre. However, did you know, Clinton, that this guy was telling me he's actually paying over $3,000 PSM for his townhouse development due to all the cost of adding all the water and stuff and getting all the titles and everything. 3,000, right, PSM is a build cost on top of the hard land costs that he's already bought that land, right? So that was very interesting.
So listen, the first house we're going to take you to was about, not the exact cost off the top of my head, about $425,000. It's a 4-bedroom house. The difference between the two properties, one has actually got a tiled roof and the other one's got a tin roof. So, I always say to all potential buyers, look at the contract. I didn't look at my
Movie World and Wet n Wild. So out here you'll notice it's got a really good highway. It's like 5 to 6 lanes depending on where you are on the highway. You've got Wet n Wild and Movie World to my left hand side, and up to our right hand side is another theme park by the name Dream World. Okay, so you can see Wet n Wild just to my left hand side here. It's a big theme park. A lot of tourists do come here. It's a great place to be, and it's highly enjoyable. We also got the show Australian Outback Spectacular, and to the right hand side we have Movie World. Okay, most recently Movie World has added some really full-on twister rides that you can see here, roller coaster rides at the front, and I believe one of them is called the Green Lantern. And it's supposed to be very scary indeed. So yeah, on the highway, it's a great road. I mean, at the moment we're experiencing peak hour. It is almost 5 p.m. and 5 to 6 p.m. is probably peak hour here on the Gold Coast. Maybe up until sometimes when it gets bad, 6:30 p.m. But yeah, we're on this road, and it's such a lovely long stretch of road, big wide open lanes, and there's no toll here. You don't pay that toll like you do in Asia. So this is one of the benefits of living in a place like Australia. And like here, at the moment, we're looking at a house that was $400,000 to construct. But what you need to essentially remember is that's 400,000 AU dollars. Now, with the AUD falling to something like 70 cents to the dollar, the US dollar, that's a 30% discount. And based on a 30% discount, that would mean then you could actually afford, with 300 or 320 odd thousand US dollars, to purchase a home here in Pimpama or Coomera. Now, where else in the world can you buy a house for 400 grand? I'm not talking about a townhouse. I'm talking about a proper house and land. Where can you purchase something like that for 400 grand in Australia? That's better than a location like this here on the Gold Coast. Okay, we've got some of the most beautiful beaches. We've got Brisbane only an hour away if you do need to work there. We've got these beautiful beaches, entertainment, shopping and theme parks, and it's endless. At the end of the day, they're even looking at this Westfield shopping centre that they're going to bring in here, and it's going to be the largest shopping centre in the Southern Hemisphere. Okay, so to the right hand side, coming up, you can see the Giant Drop. Now the Giant Drop is from another theme park that I mentioned earlier, and it's named Dream World. So yeah, Dream World is another very, very famous theme park, and there's literally millions of tourists that come here every single year just to, you know, enjoy, maybe visit the theme park or other things here on the Gold Coast, like the beautiful beaches and just the natural beauty. I mean, we've got mountains, we've got rivers, we've got lakes, we've got beaches. You know, what more can you ask for, really? And we're almost there, probably only 5 more minutes to go. It's roughly about 15 minutes out of the centre, the central city of the Gold Coast here in Pimpama. So I mean, 15 minutes out for a $400,000 house, that's bloody well cheap. And to the right hand side is a new land release. There is a lot of land that's up and coming on the corridor between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. Being that corridor between two really good cities, being Brisbane and Gold Coast, they're saying that if this corridor gets developed, essentially Gold Coast and Brisbane long term could turn into a super city that like Melbourne or Sydney. I just seen another sign there that said houses from $469,000 turnkey from the developer. You live here, you're a single man, you live by yourself?
No, man, I'm a married man, very happy.
Oh, so there's the lovely lady behind us.
Yes, you're just trying to get me in trouble.
What's her name?
Her name's Madelle.
Hey, my name's Madeline.
Hey, Madeline. She's not Madelle.
I love
Madelle.
Madelle.
Alrighty, so we've arrived in the first development here in Pimpama, and this development, what's its name? And it's built by Divine Homes, I believe, is the development. But what's the name of the development? I think it's Hawthorne Gardens. You can see some of the lovely houses here. They are really nice houses. What builder did you use to actually build your home?
Divine Home Loans.
You used Divine. Okay.
Yeah, this is the house here.
That's the house. Look at that.
And there's the dent in the door that she did.
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Wow. That's full on. That dent. So a tenant actually dented the door. Well, that sucks. But they did pay for it, right?
Yeah, they did.
They did.
So this house here,
right.
this house here, there was a house there, that one there, the Jewel Key, sold for $369,000, 3-bedroom, 1 garage.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, I got a 4-bedroom, 2 double garage for $425.
Yeah.
So really, prices are going up. The fact that you can get a 4-bedroom home with a 2-car garage is actually really.
That's a nice
cool.
house to the left, and that guy's got an Evolution. And you can see here a bit of the estate ahead of us. It's a nice estate, actually, a very nice estate. I would consider living here myself. It's only like 15 minutes from the centre of the city, and for a brand new house and a brand new build for $400,000, I just don't think you can go wrong here. I mean, especially for young working families, this is a great place to live. This is a great place for your kids. It's a bit green. There's acreage right near us. It's a lovely place, really, because it used to be all farmland.
Correct.
And then it was all redeveloped.
Correct.
So it's well worth looking at acreage as well to hold long term, because that's a good investment here on the Gold Coast. Something to consider. So this side is Gainsborough Greens with the golf course. It is a little bit more expensive. 16 homes on display from $512,000. Honestly, my preference is actually on this side of the highway. I personally almost bought a house in this development, which is Gainsborough Green, and that is going to be my pick for developments. It's a bit more expensive and harder to get into, especially now, but it's on the golf course, so I think growth-wise, that's probably where the bigger growth is. But the benefit with some of these places, and where you can still make money, where like this estate here, is at the end of the day, it's probably a lot cheaper So it might be a better investment to buy something on this side, a little bit further away from the golf course, and save yourself some money.
But this is actually closer to the shopping centre.
Yeah, well that too. I mean, if it's closer to the shopping centre, I think that's more important because it's going to be the biggest shopping centre in the southern hemisphere. That's correct, yeah?
That's definitely correct. So what we're doing is we're going to come up here. I'm going to show you up on the hill, and you'll see there now that, 2 years ago, there was no houses out here built.
No houses out here.
There was none.
Years back.
Some of these houses were built, but up here, this is all these houses now you're going past. 2 years ago, none of these houses were built.
Right.
So now what we're doing is we're coming up to the top, and what you'll do is we'll sort of just go very slowly. There's no cars to us. Look to the left, right? And what you'll see is you'll see just endless homes right down there. Okay, and
Well,
what
it's
they've done
endless,
is,
but
well,
there's
not
a
endless,
few.
but there's a lot of homes, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of
There's a lot of homes. So what they've done is to the left there's some things, and if you go down right, there's a school, the new shopping
nice
centre's got
homes
down
though.
there.
Look, there's some really nice builds in this development. Actually, look at it.
Yeah,
Beautiful houses.
they've really done a lot of effort
Yeah,
here.
and you got to understand, in Australia, we have very strict building codes, and for developers to adhere to those building codes nowadays, construction is not cheap. It is going up. I believe when Clinton bought it, would have been anywhere from like 1,100 to maybe 1,400 PSM, whereas a developer was telling me recently he's paying over 3,000 because he got stung by government in extra taxes and land fees and connection fees, as well as insurances and a few other issues too. So that was a bit of a challenge, and at the end of the day, he'll be lucky to recuperate his money. So yeah, that's what you got to be careful here. But this place, it's lovely, really.
It's really
It's a
modern.
big house on the corner. Look at that. Thanks for watching, and please do share and subscribe.
Bye.
Bye bye.